Well, hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Now, I'm recording this the 17th of June. Okay. Now, what are we going to talk about today? Uh, let's talk about the G7 meeting and all the shenanigans that went on. Most of them caused, of course, by Mr. Trump. Funny, no? Now, the first thing I will say is the general aspect of the US president. He seemed tired. He seemed a bit oblivious. He seemed physically weak. He, how can I say this? He did not inspire neither trust or strength, to be absolutely blunt. Uh, when Stallman, the UK Prime Minister, picked up the papers, the first thing that Trump dropped, they were talking about the commercial agreement the UK had signed with the US. Um, the first thing that came to mind was he doesn't know how to hold a book with some paper on it because held it, upside down and down went the papers. And then, even though if I did not like the gesture of Stalma of picking up the papers, I then, and I will retract my position, saw what he was doing. He was picking up the papers that an old man had left dropped in the floor. No, like anyone would do. I would do it. So I kind of regret, and I apologize if I said it. I kind of apologize, saying he was being in this circumstance, not in during the negotiations of the other agreement or whatever they were negotiating, but in this situation, the man was just picking up the papers to the old man. Okay? Maybe because he cannot bend too much for whatever reasons. I don't know if he has any, like people say, had a catheter uh, showing beneath his coat or whatever. No, I'm not going to not going into that because I was taught when I was a kid not to make fun of other people's misfortunes, health problems, because you never know what will happen to you in the future. Okay, and this is what I saw. Then he got annoyed because literally I have an idea of what might have happened during the summit. And it was basically the other countries telling Trump, you are effing up our economies, you better stop this shit, you better keep your shit controlled. We don't care what the hell you are doing inside of your country, but stop this bullshit of, of tariffs and all of this because we are losing money. And if you keep losing money, we are going to hit you hard. And you are going to hurt all of them. I'm sure all of them. Of course, I'm using a common language. I'm not saying this is exactly what they said, and this is my personal opinion, okay? And then they also told them to put Israel on the leash and stop this shit of attacking Iran. Basically, they told them, look, Israel is in your sphere of influence, control it. Stop this. This war is not going to benefit anyone. This is going to increase the price of energy. This is going to increase instability in the region. We already have instability because you are allowing Israel to do what it is doing in Gaza. and we are unable to do anything about it without calling you out. And this is the reason why we still have not done it, because we have other issues. We have Russia, we have China, and we need to control this shit. Look, politics, it's not that complicated. Politicians want you to consider and think that politics is very complicated. It's not. It's just a question of who is more professional about it and who is oblivious to it. And that is probably why he left early. That, and also so he would not be forced to meet Zelensky again, especially after Hexet coming out and saying that they're going to reduce the weapon supply budget to supply Ukraine with weapons next year. Weapons that Ukraine is paying for. Let's not forget this, because a lot of Americans have this idea that they are not. No, they are paying it. Some European countries are offering free of charge weapons. In the US, during Biden, also offered some old artillery pieces and some other stuff that I know they also offered them. Okay, so this is just for to avoid misunderstandings, and uh, and that was it. It was really nothing very, how can I say it, very out of the ordinary. It was a common thing. The guy arrived. I think it was more there to represent. He also felt bored to me, rather bored with it all. And I think the man he's really getting tired of not getting his way. You know, he got his parade rain on. You know, little to none, no people went there. Fox News had to add cheers and claps to the video. And if you Americans think this is a lie or whatever, I did saw direct footage of the event of Mr. Trump and his parade, recorded by a number of news here in Europe. Okay, and I am blessed on speaking a lot of languages. Portuguese, for example. I'll give you just an example. Portuguese, German, Castilian, English, okay, French. Donc j'ai aussi revu les images dans la télévision française. So I saw it. Okay. Ich habe also in Deutsch gesehen. So I really found it very Hollywood-like. No, I saw their footage and they were trying to make a big hype out of it, and people were really not that. They were there just because they were there. Some were curious. Some diehard fans were okay with it, being there, celebrating his master leader. But it was really, and like I said already when I talked about the live I did with the beginning of the parade and all that, and what was being said in the chat, something I focused more on because I was trying to feel the pulse of it, and the general feeling was that of boredom. It's like when you are a kid and you would rather stay in the house watching cartoons, and your parents forced you to go to church, okay, and you have to be there for at least an hour, and it's just an hour, and it's something so looking back, it's so little time, but for you that hour felt like a day. Even if you were a good boy like me and you played music in the church. Look at me, altar boy. But no, I had no issues with the Catholic Church, okay? No one hurt me in any way there, okay? Uh, but continue. But and what I saw in the summit, I saw the other countries uh, taking. Let me just have a bit of water. I saw the other countries taking the lead, especially people like Emmanuel Macron, but also Mark Carney, also the German Chancellor. Okay, all of them. Okay, Melania was a bit more, but she's always like this. I said this in another stream. Don't mess with her. She's not a dumb girl, like some think. She's a very smart woman. And continue. And then it was over. And then he went back. He went into his Truth Social. He said Macron was lying or was not saying the right thing when he said Mr. Trump would try to find a solution for the Israel Iran conflict. But those words were confirmed by other politicians that were there and probably listened to it or saw it, whatever. He did his little agreement with the UK, which is, well, I don't know how, I don't know the full details, so I won't talk about it. But I would just say it's a nice piece of paper to show the right wingers inside of the UK, and it's more of a favor that Trump is doing to Starmer, probably with some concessions, definitely with some concessions. For example, in the NHS, when in food security or whatever. Because at the same time, Starmer has also made an agreement with the EU to, how can I say this in a way that is not offensive, to do exactly what the EU told him. Okay, the EU will ensure that the food that the EU exports to the UK, for example, is under EU rules, so that episodes like the ones of certain producers inside of the EU taking advantage of the situation that the UK is not performing any kind of viable checks on the goods that enter the country. They sent food that was not in good conditions. To me, that is shameful. Okay, but look, there are criminals, there are misleading people everywhere, including in the EU. This is not different, okay, from any part of the world. Nowhere is paradise. But uh, like I was saying, okay, was just what it was. It was really non-news. It was about, I don't know, maybe 5 minutes in the news here, maybe that. Okay. Oh, they also made the news. What made the news also? This is also interesting. I'm going to talk about in this video, so I don't make another video talking about it. It was in the Army Expo in France, where the Israeli weapons producers had been warned by the French government that they could only show and sell defensive weapons, and the Israeli sells, of course, because they think they are, I don't know, maybe under the cover of the USA tried to sell them and they got kicked out. So that was it. Also, Portugal was selling some of their planes to buy better ones, for example. The reporter tried to talk about with the minister of defense, tried to talk with him about the question of Portugal having rescinded the contract to buy the F-36 from the USA, and that was now changing to probably to the Griffin. But the, the minister told him off, okay, because he was not there to talk about that. He was talking about how the government was able to invest the money of the planes, the older planes, the older models that they sold into new and better defense forces, and how they are increasing the spending in the defense budget, and how they are refurbishing the army, because we have a professional army. Okay, it's not very big, but it's very effective. And some people here, even here in Portugal, forget to talk about it, but I won't. I even had family members in the armed forces, and I'm quite proud of it. Okay, and that was it. Okay, Mr. Trump went and go. Okay, he is probably golfing or having a rest from all the excitement of the latest days. He is going to. He also said to reinforce ISIS interventions. Let's call it like this. I would say Gestapo raids in blue states as a form of coercion over his own citizens, which is nice. I also enjoyed very much the memes of the California governor about Trump, about the squeaky thing. Oh man, that one was hilarious. Good God. Poor Trump. In some occasions, the man was sleeping. He was actually sleeping. Must be really tired. Oh man. But, alright. So, that was it, folks. I hope you enjoyed this video. It was a light-hearted one, okay? Just talking about stuff. Now, talking about the G7 summit and a couple of things more. And I thank you for passing by and listening to me, okay? And if you are in the USA, I urge you, please, don't resort to violence, okay? Violence never solves anything. Uh, just, just be a neighbor, okay? Be friendly with other people. You Americans, most of you claim to be so Christian, and you sometimes forget what my father told me when I was a kid. And my father was a devoted Catholic. Okay, he was a really Christian man, and my father used to tell me that a Christian is not known for his words, but for his actions. Okay, it's no use talking about heaven and how this and that is a sin and whatever when you don't practice what you preach. And Christ basically told us all to get along with each other and don't be assholes. So don't be an asshole to your neighbor. If you don't like your neighbor, just don't talk with them. Just be civil. Good day, good night, goodbye, and try to live your lives. Okay, it can't rain. It cannot rain all the time. Okay, sometimes the sun has to pop